Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Sheffel, your host, and today I am so happy to have with me Terri Lundberg. Welcome, Terri.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to really lean in, and you guys are in for such a treat today. So, Terri is the CEO of Wiser 360, but she's not just the CEO, she's also an executive coach. She is a leadership expert, and of course, a jack of all trades because she might be a mother and married and all sorts of other cool stuff. So, you guys are going to learn so much from her today, and I'm excited for this. So, of course, today we will be talking about her business, her journey to business ownership, the challenges, but also the really cool things she's encountered along the way. So, definitely, if you have not liked and subscribed to the show, please do so because you're going to want to come back and watch this again and again. And of course, you're going to want to get notifications every time we have a new show drop. So, Terri, of course, thank you so much to the show. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are with Wiser 360.
Well, thank you again. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. So I am a lifelong entrepreneur. So Wiser 360 is my fourth or fifth business. My first one was in my early 20s, and it's been a learning journey the entire time. I'm a mother of five, and I've done a lot of work in the community here in Western Kentucky. And Wiser 360 is a result of I owned and ran an imaging center with my husband for over 10 years. We sold it and I continued to run it for a few more years. And after a couple years, I just felt like I was tired of putting out someone else's fires that I didn't start. And I really wanted to do some meaningful work. So I did what every responsible person with children at home did. You quit a well-paying job with healthcare and you start your own business. What was I thinking? Oh, and then I went back to school as well to pursue my master's degree in human development and leadership. So that's where the journey started. I have been a coach my entire life. My undergrad is in exercise science. So as I was back in school and learning this leadership stuff, I thought, man, I wish I could go back those previous 10 years and have some do-overs. But I didn't get that opportunity. And then they're about halfway through that journey. I decided to start my own company in coaching and public speaking and leadership development. And that's how Wiser 360 got started. Except there's a little twist along the way as a single entrepreneur, female, which has its own hurdles in itself. I was seeing other strong women in our community doing the same thing out there on their own desert island. And I remember as a CEO of that company, it's a lonely place. And I thought, man, how can we work together? Because the last thing I want to do is enter the scene and feel like I'm competing with someone when I admire these women. So we all got together, just had a meeting. They're all each subject matter experts in their own lane. For instance, we have an HR guru, we have digital media marketing, an attorney, wealth advisor, an accounting firm, a clinical psychologist. So we all came together for this meeting and decided to adopt a hybrid model where we're the hub of corporate initiatives and problem solving. So we work together on projects, yet we still own our own business. And today, in fact, is our monthly meeting where whoever's available, we get together and we mastermind, work out problems. So yeah, there's Wiser 360.
That is so amazing and tons of fun. The other piece is it's a hub of females.
Love that so much. And I've had males say, well, it's all females. Can I get, I'm like, no, that's the point.
Yes, so really walking through all the things that go through our minds as women, maybe mom guilt or other things, or let me take this risk. And all the things, because our brains, let's be honest, it's like a bowl of spaghetti. But I mean, it's so cool to have that center of influence, but to bounce ideas off of one another. But the most important thing, abundance.
Yeah.
So at Action Coach, it's one of our points of culture, and it is something that I really, really love because not everybody's my person. And I know Terry and we were talking about this. There might be somebody that really, really needs coaching, but for some reason, there's some reason why I'm not maybe jiving with that person. That's okay. That's why we have beautiful people like Terry and others, because every human needs a coach. So, Terry, tell us a little bit more of Wiser 360 and maybe some of those journeys that you guys have uncovered during some of these masterminds.
So, one of the things that has been really the gold for us that we realize is it's that monthly meeting where we get together and we're not going to bless each other's hearts. We are going to give each other the truth.
Yeah.
Today, I am introducing the Core 4 platform to the group. I said, poke holes in it. Tell me what you understand, what you think it needs. And so that the collaborative group, that cohort model was just really transformational for all of us. So from that, another colleague in Wiser 360 and I got together and we started our very first She Leads Circle group. It is for accomplished female women. And the reason we say accomplished is because we want these women to have a little bit of runway behind them so we can have knowledge sharing. It's invitation only, limited to 8, 10 at the most. It's a 3-month experience, and we wanted to bring the same magic that Wiser 360 group has to the She Leads program. So my vision is just to have this part of the state, Western Kentucky, covered with an umbrella of strong female leaders, all supporting each other.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So, quick question, because we have some amazing women here in Northern Kentucky too.
Yes, you
So,
do.
is this just a Western Kentucky type of thing, or are there maybe some amazing women that are leaning in from other parts of the world? Or I guess tell me a little bit more.
So we did our very first cohort model this last spring. It's a 3-month experience. We meet in person every other week. And on the off weeks, we do a social event. Who can show up? We do. And we meet together at lunchtime. And in that 3 months, we worked on growth.
Mm,
And because it's a closed group, we have that psychological safety. What happens in the group stays in the group. So for that very first one, it is in Western Kentucky, but why does it have to be? I'm
yeah,
not a fan of virtual, but hey, it really expands our world when we can take it to the digital platform. So
yeah.
why can't you start one up where you're at? And maybe you've heard of Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In Circles, a lot
Yes.
about female advocacy. This is a little bit different in that it's an in-person experience. And it's not
Mhm.
so much about public advocacy, it's interpersonal advocacy. And, iron sharpens iron.
Yes. Well, and I was even thinking we could even host these beautiful women maybe up here and really collaborate together because you also have done some really cool things like Leadership Kentucky and some other things where you go around the state and really get to see different things, good and bad. But what can we do to really be those game changers and innovative mindset and really shift the whole world into a whole
Mhm.
nother aspect? So tell us a little bit about some of the other learnings that you've had along the way.
So you just touched upon something that you and I talked about a little bit earlier as far as getting out of your space, out of your comfort zone. And I think that as leaders, I'm going to encourage your audience to just be intentional about what you're doing with your time, where you're spending it. Was it a big time commitment to do Leadership Kentucky? Yes, it was a huge time commitment. Time away from my business, my family, traveled all the way to Pikeville and back. 100% would do it again. In fact, that's where I met some people up in your area.
Right.
And part of that experience that was profound in my life was something called SimSoc, Simulation Society. I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
And that's just one example of how dedicating a time
Mhm.
to something like that, getting outside of your normal routine, can be transformational. So everybody go do something different.
Yes. Yes. I love that. And as I've done a couple of speaking engagements for colleges, and talk about graduates. I'm like, get out there and do something that is completely outside of your realm because it's so beautiful, you may actually have a whole new hobby or something that you never even knew existed. So, Terry, you mentioned Core 4. Tell us a little bit more about Core 4. I know it's in its infancy,
Yeah.
but this is so powerful, and I really want the listeners to really hear more.
So the Wiser 364 Core 4 leadership platform is something that I've developed as a result of several things. Number one is my past experience on running a large imaging center and seeing how different people are. The other thing that came into play with this is I hear all the time, oh, people today, they just don't want to work. And at the same time, I'm hearing this in the left ear. My right ear is in graduate school studying what makes people tick. You
Right.
know, I don't believe that people don't want to work, that they don't want to be engaged. But that old school leadership style just does not resonate with today's generation, these generations coming in. It's
Mhm.
crazy. This command and control, old school leadership, I don't know why people keep repeating themselves. I was like, that's an exercise in insanity. So the easy answer is, well, people just don't want to work. That's not true. So
Right.
that was one thing. And then bringing my graduate work into that and pulling all that together to make it a research based, scalable leadership platform that is built on transformational leadership. Of
Nice.
all the styles that I've studied, that one just really resonated with me. So you asked, what is transformational leadership? So think of it as the four I's. You have idealized influence. You want to be the leader that
Hmm.
is a role model, that has a high moral ground. Be that leader that earns the trust and the respect of your team.
Yes.
Another one is to be innovative, to encourage that innovation in your team. So, how can you make it safe for people to contribute and innovate? In a
Mhm.
time where there's so much chaos right now and things are happening so fast, you need all hands on deck. So, we want
Yes.
to encourage that innovation. And then the next I is idealized influence or the motivation. How can we bring people into the circle to help them feel like they're contributing? And this is where the new styles of leadership come in. And the
Mhm.
last one that's probably my favorite is individualized consideration. And you probably can relate to this with
Nice.
your coaching. You
Yes.
look at each person on your team as an individual and you pour into them how they need it. Where are they in their growth journey?
Absolutely.
Because that's our job as leaders is to those on the path behind us, bring them up behind us because eventually you're going to want to put your toes in the sand and you need somebody behind you that you've mentored along the way and helped them blossom into who they are as a leader.
Yes. Yes. Well said. And I love this. I can't wait to hear more about what the group has to say as you're doing this today, as far as with your mastermind. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So tell me, where do you see the business 5 years from now? Like you've all of a sudden vamped into the future, you've arrived. What does it look like?
I would love to see the core floor platform as it's trademarked just be reproducible. It's something that's scalable without diluting the quality. I
Nice.
think that the leadership development space is really crowded right now, and there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yes.
But my big rock in my shoe is these people that are one and done. You come in, you do corporate training, you check the box, but do we have behavior change? Because I need to see behavior change, and I'm all about the data. So when I'm working with a company, we're going to do a pre-assessment, we're going to do a post-assessment, and we're going to look at data because numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's 3 to 5 years from now, I am going to have this replicated, and then I'll just be doing these public speaking jobs or trainings as I want to. And then I can take my coaching clients wherever I go. And I
Yeah.
told my kids, just live somewhere warm and you can all share custody of me because my computer goes with me. So 3 are still on the payroll though. I've got one in California. I'll go there. One in North Carolina. I'll go there. We got to get the other 3 out.
Yes. Yes. That is a beauty of being a business owner, but it can have its drawbacks too because you are just so flexible and you can be anywhere in
Right.
the world and have that, yeah, the command. So, how do you turn it off from time to time? Like,
Oh,
what are some
man.
tricks of the trade that Terry has worked on for herself?
So I'm very intentional about my morning routine. Atomic Habits, James Clear. It just becomes, yeah, high
Yes.
five. I
Yes.
mean, just even we talked about it earlier. It was raining today, but if I did not get out and get some cardio, because today's cardio day, someone might die later. So it was raining, it didn't matter. So I get up, I do my morning routine, my prayer and meditation,
Yes.
journaling, just get myself coherent. Then I work out and then I'm very structured with the rest of my day. So that turn off in the morning and then the turn off in the evening. So and I don't live in my inbox, in my emails. You'll see that in my signature. So finding those boundaries, I think, are super important so you don't feel like you're just running ragged.
Yes. Amen. So tell me, what is your end of the day routine?
Oh, it really depends, man. My life can be pretty chaotic. With
Especially with kiddos at home still.
exactly. Yeah, you never know. So toward the end of I get up super early. So I am winding down by 8:30, 9 o'clock, my
Mhm.
phone is off. So just finding that decompression time is super important to me. And I am just very fanatical about my sleep and my nutrition. So I think that that's super important, especially as small business owners. You've
Mm.
got to manage that bandwidth, emotional, spiritual, your energy, that physical bandwidth, super
Yes.
important.
Yes. One of the things that nobody ever talks about when you become a business owner is that overwhelming sense of I'm a business owner, I have to make this work, the things that you tell yourself in your head, but even more so the naysayers.
Mm.
So, as you're coaching people and going through this to really lift people up and have those boundaries, tell me, what do you like coach them through in regards to that self-talk in their head to silence it, but yet be very respectful for it?
Right. So you touched on the whole thing that Core 4 is based on is that identity chain. And I failed to mention that earlier, but this does come through our coaching clients and it starts with that self-talk in our heads. That self-talk leads to our belief system. Our belief leads to who we believe we are as a leader or a business owner. That's going to shape your behavior, and your behaviors are what's responsible for your outcomes.
Yes.
So we start at the very beginning at that foundation because you can't change behavior if you're built on a faulty foundation. Super
Right.
important.
Right. So, going back to the business, what has the business gifted you as a business owner now that you have income that's not corporate income that you've been able to do within your community?
Well, number one is it's allowed me a little bit more flexibility. I had some before as the owner of that business,
Yeah.
but just being able to expand what I'm doing and be creative on the things that I'm doing, just developing the Core 4 platform has been so exciting. Going
Mhm.
back to school, I never had time to do that when you're in a healthcare industry. So I think that that was one of the best things that I did. You're challenging your brain, you're coming up with new things. I mean, we need to be lifelong leaders. Having
Yes.
that growth mindset is just it's non-negotiable. As a business owner, I encourage everyone to read about growth mindset, Carol Dweck, because you have the ability to make huge changes for your future just by being open to considering what's possible.
Yes. Yes. So we talked about your 5-year goal or plan, like you've arrived and this is what it looks like. What would be the number one thing that might be holding you back in actually achieving that 5-year plan?
Oh boy, time for sure. As crazy as I am about trying to time block and be efficient with
Yes.
kids at home and caring for an aging mother and a husband that also has his own special things that he needs help with. He's retired. It's just time. And like, oh, sleep is so overrated. No, it's not. You need your sleep. But
Yes.
that's been the constraint, is just trying to say what's most important
Mm.
and trying not to be reactive. Um, I want to encourage your audience, having been in your shoes when you're running a business, and especially if you have people that work for you, finding a way to be proactive instead of reactive. I can't encourage that enough. And if I could go back, well, I'm going to share a tip with you that I learned along the way. Set my watch for something like, I don't know, 3 hours and 52 minutes and 12 seconds. And I would just start it before I left home. And then sometime during the day, my alarm would go off and it would cause me to pause. I'd have a check in with myself, step back. I might get outside and walk around the building. So that unexpected time out really helps pull you off the ledge when you don't even know you're teetering on the edge.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Yes, definitely checking in with ourselves and being really honest with ourselves. Are we happy? Are we following our
Mm,
passion and dream? Are we maybe putting something on the back burner? Why? And what's really, is it fear? Or should we maybe love something else or
mm,
get rid of something that's not working for us anymore? Man, Terry, that is so astronomical because a lot of times we just don't pause.
right. That's my word this year, is pause. It totally is.
I love that. So, when you do some goal setting, because as a coach, I know you have goals and you talked about metrics a little bit before. So, as business coaches, we love goal setting, metrics, and all the other things, right? So, tell me, what is your approach to goal setting?
Well, like every person that's read about goal setting, you want to make it smart, specific, measurable, blah, 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 all that, those things.
Yes.
But I want to be intentional about the goals that I set. Who am I setting them for? Why am I setting them? Why does it matter?
Yes.
Because I can set goals all day long, but am I setting the right goals? So I think that that's important. And then trying to prioritize, well, what's most important now? And I think that taking a balcony view is so important. Like, just get outside of yourself and take a 30,000-foot view of, who is that person down there? And is she taking crazy pills right now? And so just trying to, and that helps you really clarify. And this is, you and I both know, this is where having an executive coach is so magical, because you're
Yes.
saying it out loud to someone else. And I'm able to do that with my Wiser 360 group. In fact, I have a couple colleagues that I do coaching sessions with, because the magic of executive coaching, I can't even tell you how transformational it is. And we get to see the moments when our client has that mind shift that was
Mm,
there all along, but
yes.
they didn't know it was there till they actually opened their mouth and we talked about it.
Right. Oh, and it's such a beautiful process. So I have a coach myself. It is something that's required within the Action Coach franchise that we also have a coach. And so I'm required every 90 days submit and my annual goals. And they do make sure, okay, Jen's on her crazy pills again. Let's go ahead and bring her back down to earth and really. But the other thing is, too, there's something so beautiful about thinking big and being that innovative piece, which I know you had talked about before. Because if we don't think big and just go for the big one, are we holding ourselves back a little bit?
Sure. Self-doubt is real. And so having those people that surround you, that'll tell you the truth and help support you and not tear you down, so important.
Yes. And we also need to make sure we put that guilt, shame, and judgment on the back burner because during goal setting, it doesn't exist. You
Right. That's
can't.
back to that negative self-talk. And then you
Yes.
start to spiral. No good.
Yes. Right. No, no. Let me do that for. No, I'm totally playing. I'm not going to do that. I love hearing other people's goals and dreams and aspirations because it's fun and allowing people to dream because some of us don't dream except for when we're little because we don't have all those naysayers along the way. So when you start to actually have somebody that you're coaching or developing and getting more into that growth mindset, what's some advice that you really lean in with them on in that process?
I guess I don't give them so much. Once in a while, I'll take off my coach's hat, put on my advice hat, but I'll challenge them. I'm
There
like,
you go.
so what about that is true? Or I'm sorry, I can't accept the words I can't. So let's talk about that. And I'm
Yes.
super, I'm like an accountability partner. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna push back. In this world where people think that you can chat back and forth with AI, you totally can do that. That's valid. But there's some things having that human to human connection, that interaction, that it like makes it a level up.
Yeah. You're not you're not afraid to call out the BS.
Right. Definitely that's not me.
Right. Right. So, all right. We're starting to come up on time. You were talking about time. It's such a wicked thing. But as we start to wrap up, I do have some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Awesome. What is the key to success for you?
Staying grounded. Definitely just not being reactive. When I look back at running that imaging center and then trying to survive COVID and keeping 20 people employed, for those of us in that space, the battle was real. We still have scars from that. And so staying grounded and not being reactive is important. Fun fact, all my hair fell out. I thought I had cancer. So you talk about boundaries and
Mhm.
self-care. It was such an eye opener because business owners, it's a whatever it takes attitude. You're ride or die.
Yeah.
And when you're in the mix, you're going to do whatever it takes. And that's what I did. Totally normal. And then my hair starts coming out in clumps. And I was just convinced I had cancer. And I really I had to get a wig, shave the rest as if I were on chemo. And looking back now, it's like, yes, of course your hair is going to fall out. Your body manifests the stress somehow. So
Mm,
yeah, that's just staying grounded. I'm going to encourage your listeners to remember what's really important at the end of the day and try not to sacrifice this one body that we get, the relationships that we have in our life. So
yeah.
important.
Yes. Oh my Lord, thank you for sharing that personal story. But more so, this life, it's not practice. It's
Yeah.
not a practice life. And we need to make sure that we're checking in with ourselves, pausing, and ensuring that we're doing what we were meant to do.
Mm, definitely.
Oh, thanks again for sharing that. So, what is your one piece of advice that you would give to other business owners?
Well, I think it's different if you're a solopreneur or if you're running a team.
Yeah.
But if you're a solopreneur, like I said, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself first, everything else is going to crumble. And
Hmm.
at the end of the day, was it worth it? I'm going to say profoundly, no, it wasn't worth it to lose all my hair and have to shave my head and buy a wig. And it was horrible. And I'm not even a fluff chick. So it was tough. So it was really hard. And then as far as if you have a team of people, knowing that every one of those people on your team, they've got a button that you need to help them or a world they could help discover, and that's your job as their leader, not just to create their paycheck and make the magic happen, but there's someone inside there that you can pour into to help them become a better version of themselves. So that would be my advice is take the time to just have a little bit of warmth and some more compassion and empathy for your people. Because I think as business owners, at least myself, I'm very task oriented. Slow down long enough to notice those people that are helping you in your business, because at the end of the day, that is your most valuable asset.
Absolutely. Well said. And it's not even just our team members. Some of our team members can also be our wonderful, beautiful family members too,
Sure. Yeah.
who are lifting us up when the guilt or the naysayers or the self doubt comes into play because they're there lifting us up.
Yeah.
So, what is a book or a podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
Well, I'm a huge podcaster, too many to name, but a colleague recommended something recently that really resonated with me, The Gap and the Gain. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I
Dan
love the
Zeta
gap
and
in the
Dean
game.
Hardy. Yes, and it's about, for those listeners out there that might want to pick that up, as type A personalities, we probably are going to live in this gap, this future that doesn't exist yet, but this we're striving to get there. And it's a moving target. Why are we doing that? How about
Right.
let's live in the game? Let's recognize our progress and see where we're headed. And don't forget to look back and see how much we've done. So having that happiness in the gain rather than that unhappiness living in the gap.
Yes, yes. It is one of my absolute favorites, and I generally recommend it to all my new clients so that then they can pick it up and really understand. Because generally, if you're owning a business or if you've made it in the corporate ladder, you are a type A person
Yes.
and you get so hung up on the gap. And it's so important to really think about the gain. And that's why I talked about big goals, because if you set or have a 2 inches higher, if you have that gain mindset, man, look how far you came.
Yeah.
Look at all the cool things that you were able to implement. Because if you set your goal here, you would have achieved it, but you wouldn't have been here.
Right.
So, but yes. All right, here's a fun question for you. If you had a little bit of magic dust that you could sprinkle on a part of the business, what would it be and why?
I think it would be on my speaking engagements. Recently, I decided to build out that vertical. I've done public speaking since I was in the third grade. And I thought, that I'm not one of these CRM, lots of email campaigns things. So I let companies and individuals know who I am through my public speaking. And Lord knows, after all these years, I've got quite a few stories, especially when you have 5 kids, you've raised elk, you've lived all over the country. A lot of
Yeah.
stories there. We bought a business that was bankrupt, 6 weeks from bankruptcy. And,
Oh my
it's no
Lord.
surprise my hair fell out. That was the imaging center, by the way. Just the backstory. Got to throw this in here. So you're wondering, my husband and his partner own this imaging center.
Yeah.
Then the partner decided he needed bought out. Okay, I'm going to come in and do some marketing. And the manager went AWOL. Oh my gosh. So, my first week there of marketing, I get a certified letter from the IRS that said, hey, those payroll taxes? We take that kind of seriously. So here's what you owe. Here's the fee. And then a few days later, I got one from the state. And so that was the beginning of my running an imaging center accidentally. So it was incredible. The smart me would have just shut the doors and sent everybody to the unemployment office, but I'm from the North and I don't know the word quit. So anyway, it was one of the hardest and most rewarding things. And my husband was the radiologist in it together. And it was just young kids at the time, all five at home, second, third grade. I was homeschooling at the time, in fact. And so
Wow.
it was just so hard. And so all that to say, I'd sprinkle the dust on the speaking engagements because I love to just connect with people in person.
Yes. Well, we're happy that you do because this has been a true treat. So, before we get to our final question of the day, tell us, Terry, how can people get a hold of you to have some of those speaking engagements and to really get to know you even a little bit more?
So you can contact me at terry@wiser360.com. That's my email address. My website is currently under reconstruction. You'll see that coming out here in the next few weeks. And then I also have an e-speakers platform. So if someone was interested in like a half-day workshop, a keynote, just go to eSpeakers and look up Terri Lundberg, and you can see some of the things that I have there.
Nice. Awesome. All right. So, our final question for the day is, what is most inspiring to you today?
I I am inspired daily by getting to be part of those light bulb moments.
Yes.
I love seeing a client make a breakthrough or getting a promotion, or I just wrapped up an 8-month leadership development project at a trucking company, and I'm looking at the data and I have goosebumps seeing those things that the people wrote about what they got out of it. I get to do that now daily, and that is meaningful work. And that's just a home run for me every day.
Awesome. I totally, completely agree. It's definitely what keeps us trucking along
Yes,
and moving
because
on.
it's not easy. I don't want to paint it as like it's unicorns and rainbows. It's hard. But when we focus on those magic, inspirational things, that's where we really need to focus our attention.
Yep. I always talk about lead with gratitude. So when you talk about the mornings and the evening routines, kind of bringing us back full circle, it's the number one thing we need to really think about. What are we grateful for? Because when we think about grateful things at the end of the day, guess what? When we wake up in the morning, we also think about those grateful things and we carry that day over day, and it really pushes us forward.
Sure. It changes your whole mindset and your outlook for the day. How can you be grumpy if you're busy being grateful?
Great. Yes, amen. Oh, I love it. Terry, I can talk to you all day and I could like just keep this rolling, like never ever stop. But unfortunately, maybe our listeners, which they'd be crazy if they didn't agree, but um we have to pull the plug at some point. So, I know. But of course, for all of you who are watching, thank you, of course, for tuning in and really getting to know Terry on a whole nother level. And let's definitely make sure that we pause. If there's not anything that you take away, please just pause and think and just take a quick walk and let your mind just go. So take time for yourself, take time for self care, and we appreciate all of you. Of course, Terry had some great insights to business and also some huge learnings that she's learned along the way. So definitely implement those core fours and think about your goal setting in a whole nother level. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe if this is your first time to the show, because we want you to get notifications every time we have a new conversation like this one drop. And you'll want to come back and re listen to Terry time and time again. So thanks again, Terry, for joining us. We really appreciate you and sharing all this wisdom. No wonder it's Wiser 360, as it should be.
Well, it's just been a super pleasure. Just I feel like we've known each other forever. So it's that connection. And so I really appreciate the opportunity and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, we started off with a LinkedIn chat and look where we are.
I know. It's so great. I mean, that digital space, it's amazing what you can do with it. So definitely tap into that. Because you never know the great people that you're going to meet and even get to leverage in your future. So thank you, Terry, for being part of my circle.
My pleasure. Thank you.